The tight ends shined this morning at Miami Hurricanes spring football practice. Do the Hurricanes have a little Deebo Samuel on their roster?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Truth Teller Tuesday. I'm Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet and writer for allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're live on YouTube and free. We're free wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We had to miss last week, at least together, because I was out of town, but the Truth Teller Tuesdays are back. Bruce Warner, the truth teller, is with us now. Bruce, for a tight end position that only had 18 catches and 1 touchdown last year, I'll see it when I believe it on Saturdays this fall, but I'm starting to see signs, Bruce, that tight end position is coming around on Green Tree.
Well, I think one of the answers to that is we got quarterbacks now, baby. We got some quarterbacks. We got Ward. You saw Emory Williams look sharp, Poffenbarger, Jacory. So we have quarterbacks now, and that's why they'll be more involved in the offense. And the running backs will be more involved in the offense. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's hard. It's harder to diagnose that right now at running back because of the guys who aren't there practicing, including Mark Fletcher and A.J. Allen are out for the spring. But it's crazy because, Bruce, there's a tie-in between running back and tight end because there's a true freshman early enrollee he's listed at tight end, right? He's been working at tight end. He's been working at wide receiver. He's been working at running back. I watched him working at running back today. Looks very natural in that position. Elija Lofton. We got a chance to talk to Elijah today, and, just a super motivated guy. Like at one point, I think it was Susan from the Herald was asking him if he has any hobbies. He was telling his hobby is coming into the facility and working out with other players. That's the only thing this young man does. He doesn't have any hobbies. His hobby is just football. Yeah, but so
you know what? Let me turn this light down. So
sure.
Look, I understand why he's there, but Allen Fletcher will be back. We learned that Fletcher's going to be there for fall practice. Do you really believe that Lofton's going to play running back with him back? Those two guys back? I don't think so.
Probably not.
They might put him in there. They might line him up in the backfield and play action or throw it.
He could play fullback, H-back. Like he can line up in multiple different roles.
Right, and that's what I think they're getting ready. Will he carry the ball in short yardage? Probably not. Yeah. But the fact that the kid, he blew up in his weight, he looks great. Yeah. And all last year we talked about, where's Arroyo? Because we knew Riley Williams was a freshman. But Arroyo looks great, and that is so important to this offense. And as we also spoke, and it seems to be coming true, Isaiah Horton is a big guy that we have to have, and he's having a great spring, right? You've been out there.
Yeah, that was one of the good connections today in practice and drills was I think it was Jacory Brown to Isaiah Horton today. So he's been consistently good out there, Bruce. I've seen him catch some big balls from Cam Ward in 1-on-1s and 7-on-7 drills. He had a nice catch today. And so when I'm looking at the tight ends today, at least 3 of these guys made highlight reel plays today. Elija Lofton, when he was working at tight end and not working at running back, he had a one-handed grab. I wasn't sure if he kept his feet in bounds, but I was talking to another reporter, and I think he did. I think they did give him credit for the big catch today. He produces at least one of those per practice. Elijah Arroyo, who you mentioned, he had a big one-handed grab today, and he beat Jaden Harris on the play. He kind of juked him and made a nice catch. And my guy, Riley Williams, had a nice catch today working against Zaquan Patterson. He almost ran over me on the sideline because he made the catch and then ran out of bounds and almost like bulldozed me. I had to use my quickness and my good footwork to get out of the way. Woo. And then I see him and Zaquan Patterson are jawing and trash talking a little bit. I love that moment in practice.
They were probably talking about you being in the way.
Yeah, probably. So like, who is this?
If you would have been hit, I would have been out of a job.
I don't know if I could have absorbed that hit from 6'6" Riley Williams. I think I would have been down for that. And Zaquan Patterson probably would have run into me as well. I probably would have been down for the count after that. So, I'm looking to, and you were right to bring up the quarterbacking this year because, it was a lot of things that were just working against tight ends in the passing game last year.
And the receivers too, for the most part.
Yeah.
Not getting the balls. He threw the ball into double and triple coverage, not checking down. I think with Ward there, and we talked to Jacory Harris a few weeks ago. Yeah. Those receivers are going to have their heads on a swivel because they have to know where he is at all times. They can't just run their route. This guy gets out of the pocket, and they better turn around because he could make things happen. So that's something that they have not really worked on in actual time and game practice, is having their heads turned around. Where's our quarterback? So it's important that they learn to do that. But I think our receivers are a million times better. I think if everybody's healthy, our running backs are. And look what we talked about with Donnie Solinger about the young kid coming in from St. Thomas, Lyles. Woo, he loves that kid. So we're really loaded. And as I mentioned, and we agreed, I'm very worried about the defense. And if everybody calls me, Mr. Negative, you have to be on the same page. The offense, to me, looks like it's going to click. There may be some quarters or some periods of the game that they're not all in, but you know what? I think the offense is very special. The most special I've seen since Mario got here, but the defense, questionable.
I think about something that you and I have talked about so much, and I will say that for the parts of practice that I've been able to watch, and we're gonna be able to take in some scrimmaging this weekend, and then the following Saturday is going to be the spring game, so we're going to see more 11-on-11 action. Because yes, the media doesn't get to watch a whole lot of 11-on-11 in viewing periods; it's very rare. So we're getting little samples, we're getting 1-on-1s and some 7-on-7s, but I see, and the good thing for the offense, maybe not as good for the defense. I do see the offense get better of the defense more than I'm accustomed to. Because how many times, Bruce, have we talked about, like, when you would go to practices in the early 90s in the Dennis Erickson days, the offense would never score touchdowns against Miami's defense in practice. But I see the offense. Now, the defense has won their share, but the offense wins a lot of those battles out there.
Right. That never happened when I was there. The defense was always ahead, and we all knew it. Plus, look at who we had. My God, you can't even compare. We had all those superstars. But yeah, I think for me, the defense is very critical. I think the offense is going to score enough points. We should win we could win every game. I shouldn't say should. Right. We could win every game this year, including Florida State. I just think that the offense is loaded. It depends on the defense. And we also, I mentioned during the season about the punter. He's working on improving his time, his distance, his height on the ball. He had a few bad punts last year. So it seems like everything is starting to gel and get better. And have you seen any of the young kids? Have you seen Scott? Have you seen any? I mean, Zaquan's out there.
Scott's not here yet.
He's not here yet.
Marquise Lightfoot is doing well and getting really good reviews. Zaquan, you mentioned Patterson. He's out there playing well, competing, right? Some guys, when they come in, and I'm not speaking only about this year, but, over the past several years, sometimes when these true freshmen come in, like, you can tell this guy's kind of learning and his head's probably spinning. That's not the case with Zaquan Patterson. Zaquan, he looks like he belongs out there, and he can play with anybody. And another couple of other guys, another one specifically that's been really impressive at linebacker is Cameron Pruitt. He goes by Bobby Pruitt. That dude does not look out of place whatsoever. I'm looking forward to when our guy Booker Pickett Jr. arrives, because he's not enrolling till the summer, but I can't wait to see how he looks there when I see him at fall camp.
Yeah, well, I think that I think we have a really good shot at him now.
Ooh. I want to get to that on the other side.
Okay.
Well, I want to tease that for a second, but let me close the loop here on Elija Lofton. We are in this episode. I want to talk about how much pressure there is on Mario Cristobal heading into his third year at Miami.
Okay.
Now on Elija Lofton, Bruce, he was Riley Williams, who I thought had a really good day in practice, his fellow tight end, referred to Elijah as a little Deebo Samuel, right? A guy who can play anywhere and do everything, Swiss Army knife type of guy. But do you think, how many different positions do you think we're going to see Elija Lofton lined up in this year? Because I think, again, this could be one of your best 11 players on offense. He may be at a traditional tight end. He's probably behind the two. He's probably behind Elijah Arroyo, and he's probably behind Riley Williams right now. I think they're going to find creative ways to get him on the field.
H-back. possible fullback, split wide as a wide receiver, not necessarily in tight as a tight end, right?
Yep.
And tight end perhaps. Obviously, if these other guys are out, he could play two tights. Depends. It also depends on injuries, but that's 4 right there.
Yep.
And I think he's versatile enough and good enough and physically mature enough and mentally mature enough to do this.
Right. Well,
we knew last year Riley Williams was like kind of lost. He came in with the fanfare, but he was somewhat lost out there. A little undersized, dropped some balls. Blocking was a miss. I don't know if he can block. I haven't seen him block.
I think he blocked pretty well last year, Riley. Like I
no,
thought
I'm talking about Lofton. I'm talking about.
Lofton. I'm sorry. I got you.
What do you think?
We got to. Well, I think Bruce that he's going to be all right. I think we have a lot more to get to on this episode of Locked On Canes, including I want to pick Bruce's brain on DJ Pickett, who visited this past weekend, top recruit in the state of Florida, 5-star defensive back. And if Miami can start to turn the tide in their favor, because a lot of people talk about LSU, a lot of people talk about Oregon for him, Miami is in the mix. You know what you want to do, my friends? We're only getting started here on this Truth Teller Tuesday. You want to keep it locked right here on this brand new Locked On Canes. And if you're a small business owner, I know you're keeping it locked to LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring, you want to find quality professionals who are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn is a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for making this Truth Teller Tuesday episode of Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Alex Donno alongside the Truth Teller, Bruce Warner. All right, Bruce. So Miami has had some important recruiting visitors come in this spring. Yes. They actually had DJ Pickett came down for a multiple-day unofficial visit. He will be back for an official visit June 14th weekend at Miami. The Hurricanes are trying to land one of the top defensive backs in the class. Are you hearing anything on maybe where Miami stands after a good weekend visit?
Yeah, they stand in a better spot with him because he now realizes what they've been trying to tell him for the last 6 or 7 months. And he's actually seeing it with his own eyes and believes it now. He now knows that Miami is serious. He now knows where he could fit in. He sees the opportunities. Whereas before he was just learning. Now he gets it. And yeah, LSU was after him, and I don't know about the NIL stuff. I mean, I could talk to Booker Pickett about it, but I'm not even sure he knows about that. But the kid is now understands what Mario is trying to do, and the defensive coordinator is trying to do, Guidry, and I think he's feeling a lot more comfortable. Does that mean he's coming? Not necessarily. Do I think he's coming here? I think I'd say right now 60-40, yes. I do. I think he's picked up what they've been trying to tell him, and now he believes it.
Okay, good. And we can have conversations about how important the upcoming season is going to be, Bruce, because again, there's definitely pressure on Mario Cristobal this year more than the last couple of years. I'm now a regular co-host on Locked On ACC alongside Kenton Gibbs. You can check out those episodes every day. And we were talking this morning about the ACC coaches with the most pressure. Now, I think the guy with far and away the most pressure this year is Dabo Swinney, because he raised the bar so high for himself and having won national championships there. And now he approaches college football so opposite from most head coaches because he's not embracing NIL. In fact, he's rejecting NIL. He's rejecting the transfer portal. So we'll see if that gamble pays off for Dabo. Now, for Mario Cristobal, he's entering year 3 of a 10-year contract. So he's got some time to put things on the right track. But Bruce, I think the expectation has got to continue to be the team needs to keep improving year by year, right? 5-7 the first year, not saying that's acceptable, but that's what happened the first year. 7-6 the second year, not good enough, but that win number has to continue to go up. And I think drastically this year, because if you look at the roster Miami's building, top 10, top 7 recruiting classes 2 straight years. You bring in a star like Cam Ward to play quarterback for you for 1 year through the transfer portal. I mean, I think there's a reason why Las Vegas sets the win total at 9.5, and a lot of Hurricane fans are expecting at least 9 wins this year, and the schedule is more manageable than it was a year ago to top things off.
Yeah, I agree with the pressure in terms of wins and losses. There's no pressure on Mario. He's not getting fired.
Right. So it would have to be like a 5-7 type year for that to happen.
He's not getting fired regardless.
Right. Okay.
So that's one thing that he's not under the pressure to win because he's going to save his job. He needs to win because it has to be. He was at Oregon. He was a winner. He's now here. This is year 3. We're loaded. We got Cam. Cam to me was everything. We didn't get him. I don't know what anybody would predict, but I think 9.5 is the right number. I do think we're going to win 10 games this year. But again, we can't lose people that are of significance. We cannot have any more major injuries like we've had. So the fact that we all know that Fletcher's going to be back before fall camp is a real big deal. How much work he gets, I don't know. But as I said before, and I'll say it repeatedly, I think their offense is going to be almost unstoppable. Yeah. If everything stays the way it looks. It's the defense that we need to have that plays differently, that plays more aggressively, and gets the turnovers, and we don't have to have these long, dumb drive and stupid penalties and offsides on a 3rd and 2. To me, the defense is the key to this team winning 10, maybe 11 games. I just don't see anybody that should be favored against us, including Florida State. We're playing them down here.
Yeah.
But that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 3 toughest games on the schedule, obviously Florida State, but again, like you said, it is home this year for Miami. Louisville on the road, I think is not going to be a cakewalk. I think that's going to be a good team this year, and Jeff Brom is doing a really good job. At least he had a really good first season there as their head coach, and then I'll put the opening game against Florida in that. I know Florida fans want to pretend that Miami's an easy game for them. I'm not going to pretend that that's an easy game for Miami because playing in the swamp is never an easy thing. So I'll put that as one of the 3 toughest games. And then obviously there are always tricky ACC games on the schedule, but I love the fact that Miami avoids Clemson this year and Miami avoids North Carolina State, which as we all saw last year is a pretty doggone good football team. So avoiding schools like that is going to help you. I'm looking forward to that. The Manny Diaz Bowl against Duke at home. That's going to be a fun one as well.
I'm not. I expect us to kick their ass. But listen, I just think that in terms of the wins and the losses and stuff like that, Miami now has Cam Ward, and he's a difference maker. I play basketball every Sunday, so a couple of these guys are Gators. They told me that they're very worried about the first game. They may get blown out.
Okay.
They love their quarterback. They think he's good, but they lost the running back Etienne, who got in trouble. Yeah. They really have a lot of unknown with that team. And so I think he admitted if Miami comes out and they score 14-0, 10-0, 17-3, they're going to start turning on their coach. There is a love-hate relationship with that guy, but it's a
mostly hate, by the way.
Very short leash. The leash is this big now after what he's done when he's been there the 2 years. So I just think that is a key game because we can't lose it.
Right.
But will it be a springboard? Look, the Texas A&M game I thought was a springboard.
Yeah.
For us. And then what happened? We get to ACC play and we crapped out.
Yeah. See, it's like I don't really, for that reason, I don't view it as a springboard because for whatever reason, Miami.
Well, it's not a springboard.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's a springboard. I think it could, though. I think that game for Florida is a much higher pressure situation because I think if Florida were to get blown out or even beaten, period, at home by Miami to start, like that could set the tone for they've got the toughest schedule in the country. The game,
yes, they do.
It doesn't get any easier after Miami, or at least it doesn't get much easier after Miami. So,
what happens if Miami loses? What happens to Mario after he's 12-13? They lose to the Gators. I think there's pressure on both coaches.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know?
But more on Napier, because it goes back to what you said. Mario Cristobal is going to keep his job, good or bad, this year. Billy Napier, he might not last through September if things don't go well for him.
Yeah. I don't know what they're thinking, but I would love to see us beat them like 41-13 or something like that. That would be great.
Oh,
and that would be the end of the Gators for recruiting and for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. That's an important matchup. I mean, they compete for a lot of recruits, Miami and
Yes,
Florida.
they do.
That's an important matchup in that regard. But let's circle back to, you were talking about being more concerned with the defense. It's about defensive back, right? Because I'm really not that concerned about the defensive line. I'm not concerned at all about linebacker.
Why not?
Because Ruben Bain, Exhibit A, Akeem Mesidor is going to be fully healthy by the time the season. There's this weird thing going on with him where like he's back practicing mostly individual drills because he can't do the full contact until he gets a specific shoe.
Right, he's wearing sneakers.
Right. So he's because based on his foot injury situation, or the former foot injury, he's waiting on like a custom mold from Adidas. Right. And another reason for Miami fans to be angry at Adidas. Adidas is not, they've not sent him. He's still waiting for up to another month for the custom shoe, he said, and then he could practice in full. But Mesidor is going to be healthy again. I like.
Yeah, maybe it's a blessing he's not practicing because he can't get hurt.
Yeah. And, Miami's loaded at defensive end. And the thing was, Bruce, I thought that with Lance Guidry's scheme, I thought that they overperformed on the defensive line, and they were excellent against the run for most of the year. They overperformed based on the talent level. And I think the talent level is getting deeper at defensive line. I think they've got more than enough at linebacker. Wes Basaint's been practicing well. Kiko Mauinoa has been missing most of spring, but he's working his way back now ahead of schedule. It's the defensive backfield because they have some pieces there. They just don't have enough depth or enough proven depth, right? I mean, I don't worry much about Daryl Porter or Mishael Powell, but outside of that, there's a lot of guys who have to step up and prove themselves.
Yeah, you're right. The secondary is, and they've gotten, look, I think Patterson's going to play a lot, especially if Mish goes to the, like a state, like not a safety, but the, what do they call that spot?
They call it the star.
Yeah, the star. So I think we have to find our guys. We have to find guys that can cover. We have to find guys that could tackle. We have to find guys that, and we need to have guys that could spot the ball and not gamble so much. There was so much bad angle tackling was better, but the angles are still bad, and they have to fix that. But they have enough guys back there. They just don't have guys they could bank on. And so you're right. The secondary is going to be the key, assuming the defensive line is good. Now, if the D line puts pressure on people, that makes their job a lot better in the secondary and a lot easier.
Yeah, when we come back, I want to talk about some of my observations watching special teams, because people always ask me, hey, what's going on with special teams drills? I got to watch kickoff drills today, and I'll tell you who was back there returning kicks. Alex Donno and Bruce Warner with you here on a Truth Teller Tuesday. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button. If you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to our channel. If you listen to the audio version, make sure you subscribe. Locked on Canes, wherever you get your podcasts, and keep it locked. My friends, eBay Motors. They've gotten me out of so many tough situations. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Hey, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? You have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We have the truth teller with us, Bruce Warner, on this Truth Teller Tuesday. So, Bruce, I got to watch more special teams today in the media viewing period than we usually do, and I saw a lot of the young, fast players getting opportunities to return kickoffs.
We do have speed. We do have a lot of young speed. Yeah, we do.
And just so people know, was not full contact and tackling today. So I can't tell you who the best return man was, although it did look to me like Robbie Washington had some really good bursts. But I think my big takeaway is which players were getting opportunities to return kicks today. Robbie Washington, Robert Stafford, Josiah Trader, Nye Carr, Chris Johnson, Chris Wheatley, Humphrey. I think that's all the guys that I saw back there getting opportunities to return kicks. So doesn't necessarily mean they won't be doing it at any point, but I didn't see Ray Joseph or Xavier Restrepo doing it today. Maybe they wanted to give the young guys more reps in that regard. I'm sure that those two will factor into the return game, but I thought all these guys look good. And we talk about the Swiss Army knife, Elija Lofton, working on so many positions. Robbie Washington's a guy we've seen play two sides of the football so far this spring. He's gotten, so it didn't happen today, but I have seen him get work at defensive back in addition to working at wide receiver.
Yeah, Mario mentioned that. They're going to give him a shot at DB. I think obviously they wouldn't do that if they were loaded, they were confident in their guys.
Right.
But if he's a playmaker, he's going on the field. He's an athlete. And you mentioned something before that's fascinating about the special teams. When was the last time we had a special teams returning punts and kickoffs on a semi-regular basis to the house? Duke Johnson, yes. But that's 10 years already for Duke. Yeah. We really have not had a solid kick returner. Travis Benjamin, but that was in the early 2010s.
That's even longer. That was earlier than Duke. Yeah,
it was earlier than Duke, and so it's been a long time. We have enough speed. We should be able to take a few to the house this year, both kick return and punt return, and punt blocking, things like that. They used to be an everyday occurrence, and it's not there anymore. But look, I did want to mention one thing I said off the air. I just want to make a quick comment. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Warren Sapp is at Colorado. Mark Caesar, my buddy, sent me a text before with a video of Sapp and Dion doing some sort of a video for the media. They were goofing around, but they both had the same, Colorado Buffalo shirts on, and he's got a mohawk now, bald and with the hair on the side. Sapp, but he's definitely up there. He's definitely coaching. Okay. Yeah, he looks 10 years younger. And he looks like he lost weight.
Really?
Not that I'm rooting for Colorado. Maybe it's the altitude
or something.
Yeah, not that I'm rooting for Colorado, but
honestly, with the amount of time that Sapp spent there with Dion last year, Dion might as well start paying him because he was basically like an unpaid assistant coach last year. I mean, he wants to go. He and Michael Irvin, they want to be all rah for Colorado and forget about their alma mater.
I don't think
that's
Michael's
where they want
that.
To be. Fine with me.
Alex, I don't think Michael's into that, but Sapp is.
Good.
Because don't forget, Michael's still at ESPN. He's doing football shows. Sapp's not.
Right.
And he wanted this opportunity because most of his money making is from doing fishing and things like that. He gets paid to go play golf and to go fish. All right, let's get off of that. But I just wanted to mention that. So
no, that's good. All right, so go ahead.
We have a scrimmage on the 13th.
That's the spring game. I think there's going to be
and on the 11th, there's another final practice that we'll be at, and then I think we're going into the locker room because I heard a story about that. But I'll get you in there, and I'm looking forward to this. The spring game to me is really important, and then what happens in the offseason? We have to have everybody that's not playing now. Everybody has to be healthy. What do you know about some of the kids that were here last year, the freshman D linemen? Now they're sophomores. Other than Bain.
So like Horton. Josh Horton, the defensive tackle, seems like he's doing pretty well. I think he could end up being probably a second teamer, a rotational guy. I don't think he's going to start. And then Jaden Wayne, I've heard a little bit
Jaden Wayne
stuff about Jaden Wayne on the edge. I think he's gonna step up and get more reps. And let me see, am I missing anybody? Obviously, Bain is Bain. He's got to continue to excel the way that he did last year. And so, yeah, I mean, hopefully, so guys that I want to see more from in the interior, Horton and Ahmad Moten, who's heading into, this will be his third year coming up at Miami. I want to see more from those guys because, again, I think the defensive line is going to be in good shape, but you're going to need to see some of these guys step up and compete. And, one of the things, Bruce, and, I don't think either of the guys that I just mentioned are going anywhere, but you think about Miami still looking to add more players in the next spring transfer portal, which opens up April 16th. They're over the scholarship limit at this point by 6 or 7 spots. There could be, between now and April 16th, 14, 15 players who leave, right? Yes. So if you're talking about bringing in
that
5
could be Will. They're going to have to get out of here. Where are they going to go?
Yeah, right.
They can't stay here. By the way, one of these guys, since we're live, I sound like a hater. Michael Irvin always rips to you. Well, I don't believe for a minute he wants to go to Colorado. And you may say he rips to you, but when people that I know, and we know Michael pretty well, he loves the U. Okay, he's not going to Colorado.
I think that person was taking issue with me, but neither of us said that he rips the U. I was just joking around about how much time he spent in Colorado.
But I also said he may have been in Colorado. He was on TV last year. We saw that. But they're all friends. I mean, he's the guy that beat Deion in that game many years ago. He beat him deep for a touchdown. But they're all friends. All these guys are friends. But to say that I'm a hater, not a hater. And Michael's not a hater. He loves this school. Are you kidding me?
Michael's not a hater. Sapp might be, but Michael's not a hater. And Sapp, Sapp did go to at least one game last year. He had a lot of positive stuff to say about Miami on social media. I kid. He wants to work with Deion. That's his buddy. Go ahead. And thank you for the compliment on the jersey. I'm wearing this is a Jim Kelly throwback jersey that I got.
All right. Yeah, it looks a little reddish. It doesn't look as orange as it should be.
I don't know. It could be my lighting.
They were that color back in the day.
Maybe so. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. He is the truth teller, Bruce Warner. I am Alex Donno. Make sure you follow the show at Locked On Canes on X, and we will follow you back. We will be back for another episode, probably 2 episodes tomorrow, actually, because I know we're going to do some recruiting tomorrow morning with Brian Smith. We may have an afternoon episode as well. So we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network.
Sapp is not a hater, baby. Sapp is not a hater.
Your team every day.